Now, the link that I had posted over 2 years ago, I've become a lot more, well, let's just say I've been through a lot more. And because of what I've been through, it goes back to what it was before. I had the same outbreaks, same stress related injuries associated with abuse again. So it just goes to show you no matter how long ago that a report was, it goes back to the same thing. And I have some information here from my previous post to update this. Now, originally, when you heard the stories that were breaking news about 2 years ago, we were just coming out of a lot of things, and life moved on, and things were going on that had very little to do with this stuff, and it just started to get to the point where once we go to school and graduate and really get informed on a topic like this and how to really kind of confront it. Otherwise, you have to use the information that's available. Now, I did look into this a little bit more, and that's why I posted it. So if you ever have anybody that censors or block or information that might be available to somebody, like in this case, we live in a post more like we're not in an information war as much as that information is already made available. Now, with the stories that we're going to share, we tell you this because after the fact. Now, I don't have a TV, and I have not had access to phones. I've had things stolen. I've been assaulted over this. And a lot of people, it's because of lack of information, or lack of good information. There's a lot of bad information going on out there that does not pertain to our cases per se, so that you're aware of this. You can look up the information regarding our cases at FOIA. You can file this information. You can get that information. I talked to the Beaver County, not Sheriff's Department, Beaver County Courthouse. That information is available. You would have to basically go down to the pathonetary and have the docket and case number so that you're aware of how to get that information, including some of the other cases. So, with that said, I left off where we had traveled to Washington, D.C. because we have now been aware, and I didn't know at this time, that there was a book written, and it has been filed in the Congress, the Library of Congress, and that would be, and again, Erica A. Harkema, she co-authored a book on Kids Help Kids. So if you see our Kids Help Kids post, you know where the information is. I want to take you back to September 6, 2002. And I want you to know that Erica had been molested and sexually abused by her grandfather. So she co-authored this book about Courage to Heal. So if anybody doesn't know about Courage to Heal or the books that there's information that helps people cope. A boy called It. There's some other things about Dave, and there's a lot of crime assistance, money, financial needs that can be met without having to really trouble yourself. The initial thing is using the Crime Stopper information that will be made available after this post. Also, tip line state troopers also are available to help assist victims if in that type of situation. So with that said, I talked to a lot of other nurses, doctors, people that work in not in depth, of course, so just general information. There is going to be a basket auction at our local hospital. It helps families and children cope with child sexual abuse. And also, obviously, it's not just child sexual abuse, but there's obviously other programs that are tied to it. When we talk about child abuse, though, we're talking about several types of different abuses. There's a lot of times stranger danger, a lot of times with relatives, and then, of course, the night terrors, the bathroom problems, all the other concerns that we've been addressing for a while. When I take you back to what happened was at Glenmore Academy, and a lot of people think, well, how did this all start? Well, I don't really have a accurate answer for that because I didn't know what we were walking into either. And when I say we, it was my Uncle Izzy and I. Because really that day, I'd already been in trouble because they missed some school. And what had happened is my mom and I were arguing about, I needed to go to school. Or at that point, it was, some spat over something that I don't even remember about. But I remember my mom and I basically, um, my mom said she was going to take my sisters to, and she didn't say any more about it. Well, one day after a day, now you have to remember I had been babysitting my sisters every day, and I was pretty much aware of what goes on. And before you know it, uh, it's 2 weeks later, and my sisters aren't home by now. And I was already a little freaked out about, the things that were going on at home. The home was falling apart. Our life was deteriorating pretty quickly. And that was in February 1985, and everybody remembers hearing the story about Cherry Mahan. So during that time, it was February 19th, I believe it was February 9th or 19th, 1985. I had been one of the first recipients of the Got Milk program in 1981. So if you're familiar with the Got Milk program, it has much to do, I think, with a lot of other things. With this particular was the first picture, an image of that missing persons, and that was Cherry Mahan. So by the time I got back up here, and now remember, I blogged about a lot of the topics we're talking about almost 3 years ago, and believe me, I didn't have no mention of Cherry Mahan. There was nothing like that on our radar at that point. But I always remember, and it wasn't until I got back up here that something instinctively told me that if I'd ever get up here, it would be about Cherry Mahan. Well, that was like 3 years ago when I blogged about this post. And here we are. I ended up back at Butler, and on October 18th, 2018, the story broke for the first time in 30 years that Cherry Mahan's family had gotten information regarding Cherry Mahan. The story, now we have to remember, it was a cold case for over 30 years. And, I think the hardship and the heartache that we felt couldn't come close. I mean, I basically almost passed out. I basically had a blood pressure issues 230 over 230 over 150. I almost collapsed when I realized that this was a reality. And a lot of people do. And, there was a lot of troubling things. I always thought to myself, as a young girl, I walked up those scary steps and I trembled. And I trembled like I was a little girl again. And I have to tell you, when I walked up there, I was greeted by this lady who was the nicest smile. And you can't even imagine that I didn't have to look that pedo in the eyes again, ever again. And she greeted me with a smile and told me, she goes, "You're exactly right. He was a monster." And I don't know, this relief came over over me. And she goes, the little boy that was molested, he was just here a week ago looking about information regarding the assault. And I was like, I could not believe it. I mean, I was just like, it came to all an end that day. And when we got to talking, she said she had bought the house off of him. He had actually got out of jail. She goes, you can pull up a lot more information. And I just was so overwhelmed at that moment, because I really didn't, I had not walked up those steps at Glenmore Academy for over 30 years. And I trembled like a little girl. And I have to tell you, because I know the reality now, but at the time, when I walked up those steps, I just was like, I felt like I was a superhero. I was going to, beat up this pedo, but that's not how it works, kids. I just be honest with you. I never trembled so much. I felt like I fell apart at that point, and I'm 40. I just turned 49 today, and I have known pain, and I've known tears, and I know what these little kids have been through. And it pains me that anyone ever hurt one day like this ever. So I hope you know that I'm going to post this information at the very end. I just want to tell you, this is it for me, and I need my birthday. God bless everybody. It has been a long journey to turn 49 years old, and I felt every one of the difficulties, and there's been hardship in this. Like, I'm just happy it's over. Information made available here. The books, Purge to Heal, Boy Called It, and several other listings, including Erica's book that's archived in the Library of Congress, and that would be under Erica A. Harkema. If you could please support us, thank you, and God bless.